Well, a very good evening to you. Thanks for clicking on to today's edition of the Long Range Discussion. Mark Vogan here for Tuesday, the 31st of January, and we have got the colder air certainly across the UK and Ireland now. We have seen certainly some snow flurries coming in across a pretty stinging easterly wind blowing across the North Sea today. And even last night we've seen reports of snowflakes flying across parts of London and likewise today as well. But certainly high pressure is in control. It's like I said in yesterday's video, it's a non-snowy type of setup. This high pressure dominates. That is a stable air mass, and unfortunately the dependency is upon that easterly wind to provide us with snow, and that certainly is happening across eastern flanks of the British Isles, but certainly nothing significant, nothing major, and we aren't going to see significant snow for the next several days at least. But certainly the temperatures are becoming very, very severe across particularly eastern parts, southeastern parts of Europe. We've seen upwards of 45 people dead now, sadly, because of this cold, hypothermia, and as well as that frostbite. Some 600 people in the Ukraine has been reportedly visiting hospitals with symptoms of frostbite and hypothermia. Temperatures down towards close to minus 30 Celsius. That's 22 Fahrenheit below zero across southeastern parts of Europe. So severe cold, following that 1 to 2 foot snowfall across Romania, Bulgaria into Serbia. Now we're seeing very, very strong high pressure across northern parts of Russia. And what that's doing is, folks, is driving a strong easterly flow across Siberia, across parts of Kazakhstan as well. Seen temperatures this morning in the capital Astana of minus 40, and what that's doing is that easterly wind is blowing from this region into parts of eastern and eventually central and western Europe. That is the reason, that is the source of how cold this air mass is going to be. The next several days, folks, the cold is going to expand, it's going to grow and intensify over parts more eastern and central parts of Europe. So Poland, you're going to get colder. It wouldn't surprise me tomorrow morning if we see temperatures down towards or below minus 30. Even parts of Germany well into the minus 20s, it wouldn't surprise me. But let's skip ahead through the upper level pattern of the European chart. You notice here the difference. I'm going to skip back. Now this is Tuesday, this is today, that is what it's portraying. Now look at the cold across this vortex of cold over the southeastern part of Europe. Notice the finger of even colder air. That, folks, is pushing in towards the central part of the continent. So skip through. By Thursday, look at the difference in the chart. That finger of cold has been migrated over and into central parts of Europe. That, folks, is a brutally cold day on Thursday. Wouldn't surprise me if we've seen some records fall by daytime, and certainly under clear skies, light winds and snow cover across parts of Europe, we are going to be looking at some astonishingly cold temperatures. Now, we are continuing to see high pressure and control. Tomorrow night and Thursday night, we're going to be seeing more widespread clear skies across the British Isles, light winds, and we are going to be seeing, I expect, minus 5 to minus 10 quite widely across the majority of inland parts of the British Isles. Even across eastern parts of Ireland, I wouldn't be surprised if we've seen widespread minus 5s showing up. But certainly, I really am eyeing what is going on and just how cold the majority of the continent is going to be by Thursday of this week. But what I'm interested in seeing, and this is where the uncertainty is, we are looking at by Friday, the models are struggling to see the push and advance of milder air in off the Atlantic, and of course that very cold, stagnant, dense cold air that's going to be overhead. Now, do we see the eradication or certainly a pushing back of this cold air as Atlantic moisture tries to push in? Atlantic air associated with a frontal system is going to try and work its way into the UK by around later in the Friday and into Saturday. My question is, and we need to pay attention to this, is the fact that the cold air is going to be firmly established through the course of the rest of the week. Cold Arctic air is denser than mild warm air. So therefore we have to ask ourselves the question, is it going to be easy enough for the Atlantic to kick some of this continental cold air back into back more across to the mainland part of Europe? That is the big question at the moment, and that certainly is one that we I'm struggling to answer. I wouldn't be surprised if this weekend is going to be colder than what many are going to expect. Now, this is by Saturday. You notice here that the cold is trying to get pushed back in towards Scandinavia and Denmark, into the Low Countries as well. Although it's going to be very cold still across the mainland, the big question mark is the cold air going to be strong enough, but also the Atlantic push also strong enough to then drive some of the moisture in across the UK. Now, if it does, there's going to be a war set up here between the cold fighting up against the milder air. Can moisture override this cold, denser? So can we see milder air ride up and over top of the colder? If that happens, we could see a reasonably substantial snowfall event across parts of the British Isles. Where exactly, I've not got a clue, so don't ask me, I don't know, but certainly that is something that I'm going to be watching very carefully. This is the precipitation chart of the GFS, the Media Group website. And skipping through the sequence here, you notice here the frontal system showing up, trying to work its way into the UK. Notice here also across south central parts of Europe, heavy rain, even heavy snow, even down to low levels across parts of coastal Mediterranean resorts. It wouldn't surprise me. But let's skip ahead to 48 hours. Now towards 72 hours. You notice here the front trying to push its way in. 78 hours. We've got moisture now knocking on the door of the western British Isles. Notice that. But certainly at the exact same time frame, let's skip and see the 2 meter temperature. Now we've got the moisture there. We've got the moisture. Is it going to be warm or cold? This is what the model is showing for the 2 meter temperature at the same time. Notice how the blues are over the British Isles. That to me suggests that low level cold air is winning out. But if you can get moisture over top of this cold air, therefore we could be seeing a snow event, not a rain event, and not the kicking out of this cold air. So a lot of things to play for. Notice how cold Europe is. Look at the cold air in the past, covering France, covering the majority of Spain as well. Temperatures in the next couple of nights going to be down to -10 in Paris, -10, -12 in Madrid over the course of the weekend. Folks, there's going to be records full. You think southeastern parts of Europe has seen it bad. Believe me, Poland, into Germany, into the Low Countries and France, even parts of the UK as well, is going to see surprisingly cold temperatures over the next 72 hours. Over the course of this upcoming weekend, do not be surprised if we see a last minute forecast calling for heavy snow in parts of the British Isles. A lot to play for and a lot of excitement to come. Next weekend, yes, is looking milder, but there's a few question marks there. The models are showing by mid-part of February a great and perfect teleconnection showing up. Trough over eastern parts of North America, ridging up over Greenland. Of course, that would suggest a negative NAO, a Greenland block, and a trough over Western Europe. So I do expect very cold weather by mid-part of February, even if we do see milder conditions push in next week. Hope you continue to stay tuned to the blog. I'll continue to keep you up to date. Bye for now.